All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the League Kansas City Summer Split Award Show. My name is Maristomatic. With me today, um, as we go through some of these awards, are going to be Wing Nation. Excuse me.
It's that okay, guy.
Um, just a little bit of business to take care of before we get into some of the awards. First, I'm going to recommend that you guys read the four-page rule book. I don't know that I have to really say that beforehand, but there's still a lot of misconceptions about such a small document. So I would definitely recommend brushing up on that. Um, and next split, we'll actually have a stream before the season starts going over some of the rules, so that should be at least a little bit cleaner than normal. Also, semifinal cast, the official semifinal cast, I'm using air quotes, but you can't see it, is going to be tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Um, between Vipers and Dude Where's My Elo, two of the teams will get to cover pretty decently here throughout this award show. Um, but I'm looking forward to that. No spoilers in the chat if you guys wouldn't mind, because I know that it was played last night. I know um, if you guys were interested, you can also find a sort of cast of the stream um, on HoEC's Twitch channel, at least for game number one, if you're interested in that. Um, but we'll have the official in quotes cast of the games of the semifinal tomorrow. Also, not going to be available for the final because Winged and I won our OKLCS quarterfinal last week, so I'm going to be in Oklahoma City during the finals. Right now, the current plan, and this might change, so I haven't officially announced it, but it looks like we're going to be headed back on Sunday, and we're going to try to cast all of the finals games on Sunday evening. So shouldn't be more than a 24-hour break on it. Um, but oh, good, my Steam pops over this. Everyone ignore all my Steam friends. Sorry about that. But we're gonna try to cast those games the same day, so it should be like 7 or 8 p.m. On Sunday for the finals games, and we'll do platinum and gold back to back. So will be a really busy day because we will have had 6 hours in the car into a probable like 5 to 6 hours of casting. So might be a busy night for us, but we're ready for it. So
That's after a full day of league the day like before, because I mean, if we advance, we've got possible 8 games played.
yeah, that'll. Uh, it might be a ridiculous couple of days for us. So bear with us if there's any changes or timing changes, but that's the current plan, is what we're looking at. Without any further ado, are you ready to get into the award show?
I am.
Okay. We're going to start with our Platinum League awards. This one, unfortunately, is going to go relatively quickly um, because there just isn't a whole lot to talk about as we'll get into it. So, first off, just going to go over some final standings really quick. Return of the Middle Sticks had the undefeated, no game losses season, very technically finishing at 6-0. Spartans coming in at 3-3, and Random did 0-6, but they had the game win. That's very important. Um, yeah, just
Not a
a
complete shutout.
not a complete shutout. Also, all three of those teams are going to qualify for the Midwest Invitational. So we'll get to see them try to fight the OKLCS counterparts. There's only four of them left, so there's kind of slim pickings in the Platinum Leagues, apparently. But I'm really looking forward to some of that. Um, so this is where I would award an MVP if I had one. Unfortunately, we only got to cast three total series from the Platinum League, so we have a three-way tie in terms of our MVP points. The way those work, if you guys didn't know, you get 1 point for a game win and 2 point or 1 point for a game MVP and 2 points for a series MVP. So we award a total of three for each of them. Do you have any standout performers from this list that you'd like to talk about?
Man, not really. It's we got to cover them so little between, I guess, starting doing the casting a little bit later, like at least especially with like the Plat League, it wasn't done for the first few weeks, and then just how little exposure they got. It's And then of course with the MVP standings that we do have, it's nah.
Yeah, I would particularly like to shout out this guy on the list. His jungle performances in the couple of games that we got to saw were completely dominating. Like his pathing looked above and beyond anything else that I had seen from any of our gold teams and any of the plat teams that I've really watched. So, uh, sure, whatever. It's a three-way tie for first, but it's yeah, unfortunately, not a whole lot to talk about. I would like to give some shout outs really quick, though. I grabbed these KDA rankings. This is from both casted and non casted games, by the way. I was able to get the match histories from it. So, Big Tom for Return of the Middle Sticks with the 40 KDA. The
Yeah.
eight kill, one assist, 32, or 8 kill, one death, 32 assist performance this season for Big Tom.
Yeah. It it almost doesn't look impressive because there's no decimal after it, but it's just straight 40.
Yeah, it's straight 40. Liposuction lane with the 10.67 from top lane is pretty big. Yeah, not a huge sample size, unfortunately, but still turning in a 40 KDA in any number of games is pretty impressive. Plus, the 110 assists from Orbital is pretty ridiculous, especially considering that's, I think, 7 games or 8 games played for him, and he had to switch roles 2 or 3 times. And then the last shout out's going to be to the team Return of the Middle Sticks for being super easy to work with through the entire season, getting me all the match histories when I asked for them. I just appreciate them and wanted them to know. So just a quick playoff preview, if you'd go over that, Wing.
So it's just gonna be Spartans versus Randomed. Winner of that goes on to fight Middle Sticks. It's playoffs, so hopefully no more forfeits. Eventually, you are gonna have to fight the Middle Sticks.
Yeah, I know that both teams are trying to get that scheduled right now. They don't have an exact date on it, so I don't have a date of the cast for it either. But we should have that for you guys on the stream. And then I'm looking forward to that final seeing Return of the Middle Sticks back in action, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Return of the Middle Sticks at MWI. So now to the meat of our presentation today. We're gonna get into some Gold League awards that I know most of the players in the chat are looking for. Uh, so first, again, just look at some final standings. Team Fusion finishing with 8-1 in first place. 15 game wins to 4 losses is a pretty ridiculous differential as well. And then our two other playoff teams, Dude Where's My Elo finishing at 7-2, just 1 game out of that automatic bye, and just a 1 game differential difference as well. Was a really good season for them. And then if you'll grab the other teams.
I mean, we got Vipers, the third existing team, as apparently there was a funeral for the Venus Breakers while I was gone. um, Coming in just only 5 game wins, two total match wins. But anything can happen if you make the goals, make it to playoffs, and I mean we'll find out what happens tomorrow.
Yep, unfortunate season for Venus Breakers. I really hope that most of their players return for next season because they had some moments where they looked very very good. And even Vipers. We'll get to see them again in the playoffs, but I really hope that those players stick around because the improvement from the beginning of the split to the end was pretty drastic, and I'm excited to see them grow as players. So without any further ado, the first actual award we're going to give away is going to be the most valuable player. Um, Again, this is determined by points, not by a collective decision making or anything like that. So our most valuable player of the split is going to be Spitfire from Dude Where's My Elo. He comes in at 11 MVP points, which basically translates he had 3 series MVPs and 5 game MVPs. Um, Most of those were in the first part of the season. Uh, what did you notice that stood out from his play during that early part of the season that maybe changed
Uh,
later on?
from some of the games that we cast, especially early, multiple Flash Tibber assassinations, single-handedly turning fights. Sometimes just like 1v2 and 1v3 with the Annie. Did seem to actually pull out a huge amount besides the Zed. He's pulled out, I know, Jace previously. I don't know, did he pull it out this season or was that just, no, that was earlier this season.
He had the Zed, Irelia, and LeBlanc games, and two on Annie were the ones that he earned the game MVPs on. He did swap to top lane, I believe, for one of the games as well. So showing showing a well-rounded play, and again, a lot stronger performance in the first half of the season compared to the second half, but it was enough that nobody was able to catch him in those MVP points. And Fusion may be hurting themselves because they spread those MVP points around to pretty much everybody on their roster.
Yeah, that's what you get for letting individuals carry.
How dare you guys? All right. So now the things that that we've been kind of hyping up. This is going to be the all LKC teams. These are the general rules for it. Basically, sent out ballots to every admin and every team captain, and Winged and I both got votes as well. Um, you can see generally how it was picked, but basically, on those ballots, you would pick your top two players. They get assigned points. Players with the most points get to be voted. If there were ties, it's broken by most first place votes. And I'll go ahead and add all of the voting so you can see who voted for what. I'm going to add that to the stat sheet after this awards show. So look forward to that if you're looking to see who voted for what. All right, and you want to go ahead and announce our first two players?
Yeah. Alrighty, so I guess for our first team, top and jungle, we've got both fusion members. We've got Dogmar and Hoey. Uh, I mean, Dogmar's definitely more of a dog champ player, as we would call, but he's doing what he needs to allow his team to succeed. Uh, and more so importantly, let his jungler play all the assassins that Hoey's been known for. Hoey did sub once in the previous season, was known for Kha'Zix, Lee Sin then, still proving that they're a bigger threat, more threat than ever, honestly. Going back to Dogmar though, he was second in the league in assists and also had second in KDA. Hoey coming up with second in kills and one of the lowest people dying, especially good considering the assassins that he's constantly
Oh,
playing.
that's actually most deaths. So
Oh, that's most deaths. Oh,
yeah,
tied fifths. Oh, then never mind. Okay, yeah, I thought it was reduced. Okay, so never mind.
yeah, that's
In
that's
that
kind
case,
of
he's
the
dying a lot on assassins, which makes a lot more sense.
yeah, that's the double-edged sword of Hoesi throughout the season. Second in kills, but fifth in deaths. He'd either pop off or sometimes just have those games where he just kind of died a lot and wasn't super effective. But definitely, I think both of these guys head and shoulders above the other members in the league, and I think that both of them were they were both my votes for first team. I believe they were your votes as well. But really outstanding performances for both of them during the season. So let's continue on. For mid lane, we're going to have another Team Fusion member. It's going to be Uncle Jabronis in the mid lane. And our AD carry, our bot lane carry, if you will, is going to be from Team Vipers, the Revan Christ, able to secure the most votes. And Uncle Jabronis, I think if I had to actually vote, I think that this guy would be my league MVP this season.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I voted for him too for MVP. I don't remember honestly.
we
It's
didn't
been
take a vote for MVP
oh we
because we had the
didn't.
point
Oh
system. Yep.
yeah.
But Fusion was struggling along just a little bit through the beginning of the split, and then Uncle Jabronis went ahead and really turned that around. Finished first in the league in kills, first in KDA, popped off pretty much every single game, and really led that team uh, through their schedule. Do you want to talk a little bit about Revan Christ?
Revan Christ was pretty much the consistent standout performer on Vipers. We'll talk about his support a little bit later, but especially early season when Vipers were really all over the place, Revan Christ was kind of the standout. Did show a little bit in the stats, fourth in the league in kills, and kind of not necessarily 100% his fault, but was tied for second in the league in Deaths 92. It is a team game, so when your team's kind of collapsing around you and you're trying to carry them, you're probably going to be taking a lot of pressure, a lot of focus. So second in Deaths, plus being a marksman player, or you're going to die a lot.
Yeah. particularly his Kaisa performances. I think he picked it 6 times this season. Almost every single time, you felt like he was just that one kill away from being able to pop off and carry the team, but something would happen on the other side of the map, or their macro would slip, and it just wasn't quite there to happen. But definitely in lane, Revan Christ felt like one of the best AD carries, if not the best, as he's voted in the league. So, um, yeah, we'll go ahead and flip it over. The last member of the first team from Dude, Where's My Elo is going to be Constant Stutter. And this guy led the league in assists. 207 assists throughout the season uh, is just a gigantic number, and third in assists per game, um, meaning he benefited a little bit from playing more games than other players, but showed a lot of different style of champions, playing the Rakan, playing the Tom Kench, able to play the Nami as well, um, and showing that versatility from the support position.
Yeah. Did he ever pull out his Nautilus this season, or was that strictly last season?
I think that was strictly last season. I think he might have played a game or two of it though. I don't know for sure. But but congratulations to our first team. Again, if you're interested in the voting, we'll have that later on. Just in a little bit of a break now. My one trick award for most games on a single champion goes to Viper's Droopy to Clown, picking up 8 games on Thresh and pulling out 12.6 assists per game on Thresh means that he was initiating, he was doing the work for his team um, on that champion. And I know that I noticed, and you probably noticed as well, it was a pretty stark difference between him on Thresh and him on pretty much every other champion.
Hmm. Extremely comfortable on Thresh, and as a fellow Thresh player, he's just such a fun champion where he can do kind of everything for your team. Peel, make picks, just save your teammates when they're kind of running around with their heads cut off like a chicken. That's when they click lantern anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes they flash away. Most of the time.
All right. On to our second team. Um, if you want to introduce them.
Yep, absolutely. So going up in the top lane, we've got the Venus Breaker Senekin. Fewest deaths of any top laner. I can't tell if part of this actually is going to be a meme, Aaron, since Venus Breakers did kind of uh, end their time with the league. But did while playing mostly bruisers and or duelists, was able to have a much lower number of deaths. Uh, and then we've got in the jungle, we've got Lucky, uh, our jungle from last season. Third in the league in kills on there. Plenty of carry champions. Graves, the Jax. He played Trundle, I know. It was definitely able to put out a lot of pressure and allow Spitfire, his MVP, to kind of like roam and do the assassinations that Spitfire was doing on the Annie.
Yeah, also worth noting, I believe in the playoffs he's going to be playing mid for their team, and had been playing mid for a week or two prior to the end of that, but primarily played jungle this season. And yeah, Senekin, the fewest deaths was it's a little tongue in cheek, but also he was playing split pushing. He was setting the tempo in games where Venus Breakers were able to succeed and get things done. It was normally because Senekin was applying so much pressure on the Camille and the Fiora that the rest of his team could collectively accomplish their own goals. So we'll flip it over. Our second team mid laner and bottom laner. Our mid laner is going to be Spitfire, who finished first in MVP voting, and then our AD carry specialist, I guess, from Dude Where's My Elo is going to be Rich Kid 88, getting that second team nomination.
Yeah, with Rich Kid especially like having to step in. I don't know exactly what happened to Cabot King, their original marksman, but as soon as he kind of like stepped in on Elo, his presence was very noticed on the Jin especially. It was extremely aggressive and knew how much damage he was putting out.
So again, the MVP voting was strictly based on a point system awarded at the end of every game. We award a game MVP that was worth 1 point, and then at the end of every series was worth two. Spitfire was able to accrue the most points throughout the season. Whether or not he was the most valuable player to his team is definitely an argument there, but he was certainly the most valuable player during several games and was able to accrue those points. Um, and then all of the first and second team votes came from both us admins and captains of every team, so it's not us exclusively. And I know that my ballot has differed from these actual awards in a couple of different places. So, um, anyway, yeah, I thought Rich Kid played really well throughout the season when he stepped in, particularly his Yasuo in the last series against Vipers and his Ezreal performance just sticks out in my mind as being very strong from that bottom lane. And our last member from our all LKC teams is going to be from Team Vipers, Droopy the Clown, able to take it in. Um, so Vipers getting both of their bot lanes in on the LKC teams, uh, but Droopy, we mentioned, finished fifth in the league in assists, had really standout performances on the Thresh, and looked maybe a little bit worse on some of the other champions, but had solid performances on Leona, I remember, and I'm trying to think there was one other game where he played super well, but was able to provide that initiation for his team, and at least pretty much every kill that was secured, you felt like Droopy had a hand in it for Vipers. So our last award here is going to be for the most improved player throughout the split. Um, basically, same voters, by the way, as the All Star ballots. It's going to go to the player who in those terms improved the most from the start of the split to the end of the split, which is something that I feel is super important for these leagues, as our big goal is to provide a competitive outlet for people, but also to give a place for people to improve and a home and community and whatnot. So um, basically, voters listed three players they thought were deserving of the award. They got ranked based on points, based on where they were voted. Player with the most points gets most improved player of the split, and ties are broken the same way that they were on the all LKC teams. So if you'll go for if you'll introduce our most improved player.
Our most improved player is going to be Elo's own Malzahardons. Uh, he definitely early in the season looked like he was struggling to just kind of control his lane, and definitely near the end of the lane, at least or near the end of the season, in my opinion, was comfortably actually actively looking to make plays throughout the map and wasn't just trying to exist through lane and hope to get carried.
Yeah, he went from the start of the season was definitely the weakest member of their team, and you could see that he was getting picked on. He was just trying to get some farm up. He'd finish games where they were stomping very hard. He'd finish like 1-4-5, didn't really get to contribute, and he went from that to being a very strong member of their team later on in the season. We saw him excel on tank picks and able to provide some initiation when his team needed it later on. Um, he also did play a couple of different roles. I believe he jungled one game and played mid a couple of games as well. So he showed some versatility. You can see the full voting there, just to show kind of how all over the place that was based on the phrase improvement from the beginning of the split to the start of the split, um, or the start to the end, excuse me. So, yeah, most improved player is going to be our all-around great guy, Malzahardons. And then our
I
final order of business is just to look ahead to the gold playoffs. We're gonna have Dude Where's My Elo versus Vipers on stream tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Um, I believe Wing Nation will be joining me unless something bizarre happens, but uh, we're both looking forward to that cast. And then the winner of that will play at the LAN finals versus Team Fusion. And again, I'm not going to be there, but we're going to look to grab that cast later on that same evening. Anything you're looking forward to on these playoffs?
uh, I don't know. I feel like Fusion was on a tear near the end, so I want to see if they can continue that streak, especially since they get a little bit of a break or downtime. Are they like practice might be good, but sometimes the breaks honestly hurt you.
Yeah. I'm really excited. All three of these teams are going to be at the Midwest Invitational. I'm really excited to see them match up against the top three OKLCS teams, which, I mean, we might be one of them. We might be seeing you guys there, ready to take some of you guys down. So we'll we'll look forward to that. Um, with that being said, that's going to end our short little awards presentation here. Um, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and post the full ballots, including who voted and what they voted for, onto the stat sheet right after this ends, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the semifinal cast, and then whenever we hear when the platinum semifinal is going to be, we'll have a cast of that afterwards as well. And looking forward to finishing out the season with you guys. Um, yeah, do you have any words you want to say?
Not much. Nothing at least appropriate here other than stay free for a Midwest Invitational.
Already throwing down the trash talk.
Hell yeah.
But I know that I'm looking forward to playing with and against some of you guys there. I know that we are not going to travel to Wichita. I don't know how loud I'm allowed to say that. So hopefully we'll get to play you guys online. If we don't get to play at the Midwest Invitational, I'd love to have an unofficial scrap against some of your teams. But looking forward to the playoffs. I think that that's going to wrap up our regular season um, in a pretty nice fashion. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to hit me up on Discord. And yeah, also for next split, I am looking for just a couple of casters who are going to commit for the entire split. What we're looking to do is have individual casting combos, basically for the entire league for the split. So, for instance, Winged and I might go ahead and cast all of the Gold League games. One of our other casting combos would go ahead and cast all of the Platinum League games, and I'm hoping that we can set up something like that for next split. That way, each league gets their own casters. They get familiar faces, and it helps save my voice just a little bit. So, if you guys are interested, hit me up on Discord. And yeah, that being said, if you also let me know what you thought of the award ceremony and the talk show we did at midseason. I am very curious as to whether you guys enjoyed that or not. So uh, thank you guys for watching, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for the semifinal. I messed up the splash art with the. Oh, I can take off the timer. There we go. Okay.